Let's start it. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening everyone. Today we will have our webinar series for the introductions of effective project planning in construction. Okay, thank you so much for watching us today. Okay, our webinar is brought by our Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, Masa University. All right, so here with me today for our effective project planning in constructions. Okay, we have our speaker, my friend, okay, Mr. Azrael. Thank you so much, Mr. Azrael, for having us here in Masa University for the webinar series, Effective Project Planning in Construction. So our friend here, okay, Mr. Azrael, or we can call him Mr. Bob. Mr. Bob, how are you today?
Hello everyone, I'm fine, thank you. Okay, to Mr. John, again. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for having us here. Okay, together with me. Okay, we will talk about this project planning in construction, which this is a very crucial stage in the project planning, which we will plan everything in early of the project stage. Once we have the planning, so we will follow the planning what we have planned, so that we will have move project, then we can successfully complete our project, okay, within time, within budget, and also using all the manpowers that required. That is the most important thing. But in construction, as we know, okay, the most important thing that we need to achieve is safety. The safety is the first thing that we need to have. So all above the planning is the safety requirement. So hopefully we will learn something on this effective project planning in construction with Mr. Azrael here today. Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Azrael. And again, firstly, I want to introduce the what I call the introductions of our webinar. So project management is very important to ensure the project will success, and also the major element in project management, okay, the most important thing is the planning stage. Okay, so what we have learned previously from Benjamin Franklin, okay, they have one very famous quote that Benjamin Franklin say, if you fail to plan, meaning you are planning to fail. So for this for this planning stage, we must ensure we plan it carefully, we plan it very good, so that we will have a successful project. So, Mr. Bob, okay?
Yeah.
So now I want to introduce you, okay, to our planner, okay, our friend here. Okay, his name is Mr. Muhammad Azrael bin Cik Jumaat Yang. Actually, he's from Kampar, Perak. Now he's working with our project in Malaysia, okay, Pan Borneo Highway. So he's worked with the pengurusan Lebuh Raya Pan Borneo Sarawak. Okay, now he's in Kuching, Sarawak. Okay, he's come online with us, okay, to share the experience of become a planner. So Bob is still single. Yeah, Bob.
All right.
Okay, and he's graduated from UiTM Shah Alam in 2009. All right. So I think Mr. Bob here, he have a what I call a huge experience. He already involved with Linus project in Gambang, Kuantan. Okay, some Petronas project and Tukuyama project in Bintulu, Sarawak. And also he's also have across Malaysia, okay, the experience in constructions, okay, for Balai Polisentol and so on. So for the government project and private project, he's already involved a lot in the construction. I think it's more than 10 years of experience, right, Bob?
Yeah, correct. I'm starting from 2009.
Okay, thank you so much, Bob. So welcome again. Okay. So,
thank you.
For this webinar series, just we want to share your experience on planning. Okay, Bob? So,
yeah, of course.
your background is from civil engineering, right?
Yeah, I'm from civil engineering.
Yeah. Then what is the make you change from civil engineering, the design process, the management process, become a planner? Okay. What is the challenge that you get? Okay, from this changing, what I call changing from civil engineering to the planner. Okay, Bob. What?
Okay, hi. Okay, hi everyone. Okay. Actually, it's not a changing of career lah. Actually, planning is part of civil engineer also. Okay, it's just that if civil engineers, we are more focusing on the technical aspects such as regarding the concrete, the design, and everything. Whereas planning is consists of everything. This means starting from the tendering process up to the post-construction process related to that. So whatever I learned during civil engineering is also applicable during my career lah. So it's not a changing of career, but it's a what we can say is a same parts. It's just a bit of revision from the engineer. Okay. Actually, to I love about planning is the challenge that it can give. Okay, even though we said that sometimes high-rise buildings, even though high-rise building projects, not every project is same. Every project has their own uniques. So even though two projects of high-rise buildings, but the planning side they were totally different. So that what I love about planning. There always be something new. Okay, so yeah, apart from that is the for planning. It's not only for civil engineer. Actually, the basis of the plannings can be used for other part of engineering like M&E, chemicals, and everything. The basics is same. The only difference is how to execute the works. For example, for construction of buildings, okay, that is more to the engineering, the civil engineer course lah. And then, but the M&E is more to the wirings, air conditionings, and everything. So both must go together. So it doesn't mean that you are civil engineers, you are only focusing on the civil part, no. But as a planner, you need to have a basic knowledge about others also, M&E and everything. Because overall, when you do a planning program, everything will be one. That means you need to incorporate M&E and everything inside the one program, and the program will be used as your guidance for completion of the projects.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bob. So, Mr. Bob,
Okay.
for me, okay, as I know, okay, planner is someone that can see the future, right? They can predict what will happen, but on the same time, okay, they want to plan to ensure all task activities will go smoothly. But as we know, okay, not all the time that we will have that smoothness in the project, right? So sometimes, okay, we will have these difficulties, the problems, right, in our project. So we need to have a plan A, plan B, plan C, or so on, whatever plan that we have to ensure the smoothness of the project. Okay, so here, okay, can you explain to us a little bit on how we want to ensure the project will become smoothly? Okay, so on
Okay.
the planning and so on.
Okay, thank you, Feroz. Actually, ada betul and salah lah. Sometimes it's not that us planner can see the future, but we are trained to foresee whatever risks that might happen in the future, so that we need to incorporate that thing into our what we call baseline program. Okay, as we all know, in construction industries or any other industries, whatever we plan doesn't mean that that will go smoothly, because along the way there will be a lot of things happen. That's why we have a revised schedule, extension of time and everything because of this matter lah. But for us planner, during the early stages, that means after the technical stages lah, that means when we want to build up a baseline program, we need to consider the future possible risks that might happen at the site that might produce delay for the project. So with this possible risks, then we calculate what are the best possible actions that needed in order to overcome. Besides that, for us planner, we are always doing constant monitoring for our program. That means sometimes there's a planner who are daily monitorings, doing a daily monitoring for the program, weekly monitorings, but mostly for a project, they are required for 2 weeks monitoring or a month monitoring lah. So based on this monitoring, then we know what are the problems happen at site, and based on these informations, we will discuss with the project manager on how to overcome and what we can do in order to ensure that the project are back on track and everything's are going smoothly based on our goals. So basically, that's the main frame on what we are doing to ensure that the program that we make are still is what you said can be used lah. The program can be used. So that is basically the main point. So, but okay, this is among the issue lah. Usually, there will be a delay in construction industry, in the construction of projects. Okay, these delays is suddenly due to the design changes, due to the environment issue and everything, land encroachment. So these things is out of our control. So the best things us planner can do is come up with something that can reduce the delay and to fasten any other jobs that can be do aside from this effective activity. So that even though there might be some activity delays, but the other activity is ahead of schedule and the total progress is still on par or ahead from what we are planning.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Azrael. So planner, they cannot see in future.
Of course cannot. If planner can see the future, main saham is better.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Azrael, I believe that you involved with this Pan Borneo project right now. Okay. So, can you explain to us a little bit, okay, to share your experience on managing this Pan Borneo highway, and also, okay, for managing this Pan Borneo highway, what are the software that you use in this planning stage or planning activities?
Okay, yeah. As you mentioned, currently I'm doing Pan Borneo Highway. Is one of the biggest projects in Malaysia currently lah. Okay, at this project we are using Primavera P6 as our main planning tools. Okay, besides Primavera P6, there are a lot of other tools that we use for planning, such as Telos, Microsoft projects, BIM, HIM, and everything. But normally in Malaysia, we are using either Primavera P6 or Microsoft project. For me personally, I prefer to use Primavera P6 because you can have more data and more details on the program itself. Okay, usually Microsoft project are being used in many government projects because sometimes it's for me it's easy to use compared to Primavera. And the problem with Microsoft project is not for a big scale project. If for big scale projects, then better use Primavera lah. Okay, for this highway, I'm as a regional planner directly under GKR. So my responsibility here is more to supervise and monitoring all the progress for my region. Okay, currently I'm at the central region, which is from Sri Aman until Cebu. So along this stretch is under my supervision lah. So currently what my role is, I will supervise and directly reported whatever happened to JKR. So, and then from the report, we will foresee what are the issue and how we can help the contractor to fasten their work to ensure that the project can be delivered as per time given. So basically, this is my main task at here. Okay, so regarding the software itself, in Malaysia is currently we are more using Primavera Physics. Even though it seems like complicated, but actually once you learn it, you can find it's very useful and easy to use. So that's what I can say about the software.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Bob. So for now, okay, I think we will ensure that our students will learn something on this project management software to ensure that our graduate will come out and can become a planner just like you. Okay, so now we go to quite technical question regarding this planning process. Okay, what criteria for the effective project planning and construction? Can you explain to us a little bit on this criteria for the successful planning and construction?
Okay, for me, a good planning is when your program achieve all the goals set by the company lah, which is mostly is the project can finish within the time given, the budget, and also with the quality that we determine. Okay, for me that is successful for planning. However, in order to do that, there's a lot of steps you need to do lah, especially your baseline program must be really strong. So in order to do that, first you must know about the scope of work. What is the scope of work for the project itself? When you understand that, then you can imagine what are the baseline program that you want to do. And then another thing is you need to know that which construction method to be used. Currently, there's a lot of construction method. Either we use in situ or prefabrication and everything. So each of these construction method have their own advantage and disadvantage. So as a planner, you need to determine and decide along with your project manager which are the best suitable method for your projects. This means you also need to know about your site condition. Either your site at the town area, rural area, what your site area, the soil and everything, whether it's a crowded area. So all of this, you need to foresee it first lah. You need to know and get the information. Okay, for example, if your project is in the town area, which have a constraints limitation of place, definitely I prefer to use a prefab method lah, which is IBS. Okay, because this thing is you make the concrete at the, for example, the concrete should be made at the other area, meeting plan and everything, and then being transported into the site. So it save the area at your site, and you can use the safe area for other things. So basically, need to know, okay, after you know the scope and you know determine the method and everything, then you must study the drawings, the contract and everything. Okay, the purpose why you need to study it, because you want to create what we call as a planning sheet. Okay, planning sheet is a first step before we do our program. Okay, in our planning sheet, there will be, it is a first step because we can say it's a draft on how we want to do our program. That means all our activity, our WBS and everything, we put in the planning sheet first. So that we can see if there is any activity that left. So with this planning sheet, then we will create a measurement sheet. Okay, measurement sheet is more to we create. I can say more to monitoring process, because in measurement sheet we have the quantity of the material and everything. So whenever you monitor it and you update the progress. So for example, in the project we have 10 columns to erect. Okay, so in measurement sheet we have 10 numbers of column, and the site have finished 5 numbers. So we put 5 numbers in measurement sheet, and totally it will totally calculate the percentage of our progress. So basically that's the use of measurement sheet. Okay, in the planning sheet, usually we have the sequence of activity, the production rate. Okay, the production rate is based on the resources itself. Okay, for example, in order to do concreting, what are the machinery you need, how many workers, what are the workers, all of this will be included in the planning sheet. Okay, so if everything okay, and then your project manager already give a green light, then we start our program based on the planning sheet. Then I can say the planning sheet is we copy paste whatever in the planning sheet into the program. So from that we will get our how many workers we need, what are the types of machineries we need, what are the duration we need in order to complete the activity. All of this, the duration, the manpower, the material, all can get based on the planning sheet. So it is really important, if you want to do a program, you must do a planning sheet first. If your planning sheet is not okay, totally your program will have something wrong. Okay, then after you do the sequence activity, you need to sequence the activity. You need to link the activity, okay, based on the correct link. For example, you want to build a house, of course you need to do foundation first, then the column, everything. You cannot start building a house from roof, because there will be no support. So this is the most important thing. So for me to be a good planner, at least you have experience inside. Because when you have an experience on site, you can imagine, you can see how your project will go and what you can do in order to confirm that the construction sequence is correct. Okay, basically that's the main point for the program. Okay, and you must make sure that every project there will be a start date and finish date. This is the main milestone for our project. That means you cannot start early from the project and you cannot finish later than the project. If you finish later, that means your project is delayed, and you need to find what the reason of the delay, what activity driven the delay. Okay, this is also part of planner scope. So that's why I said earlier that in order to ensure the smoothness of the project, we planner do a constant monitoring. Okay, this is the reason why, because with constant monitoring, we can detect what are the problem for our project. So we can try and do our best to overcome it. Okay, even though sometimes there's some cases where we can't overcome the delay because of maybe the material need to order from overseas, the time waiting for the material and everything. But we can go other way around and make sure the activity that not related to the material can be do first. So that at the end, our program is still on track, even though some activity is delayed. So basically there is it lah. So with this program, you can know you can have the Gantt chart, you can have the S curve, and you can also input the cost for each project. So, but these things you need to work closely with the QS because the cost is only can come from the QS because they are the one who really know the distribution of the cost. We as a planner are taking data from them and input it inside our program. So as a planner, one skill that you must have is communication skills because as a planner you will involve with many people starting from the high ups, project director, project manager, client until the subcontractor because you need to have info from them and also you need to inform them. So communication skill also is really important. Besides your planning skills and also the Excel also you need to know because we planner sometimes using a lot of Excel.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Bob, for this explanation on how we want to have the effective project planning and construction. Okay, so I think your answer quite comprehensive. So here we can conclude that the first thing that we need to plan is the time, okay, the money, the cost, and also the quality. That is the most important
Correct.
thing in our planning, which we must ensure that our materials, our manpower, and also our machinery on place, so that we will have no delay for our construction process. That is the conclusion that I get from Mr. Bob. On the same time, okay, from what Mr. Bob mentioned just now, okay, effective communication skill is very important. Okay, so this is where the university need to develop the students on how they want to communicate effectively. So from the effective communication, we will communicate with all layers of parties involved in the construction to make sure everything will go smooth. Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Bob, on your explanation just now. So here, okay, my last question for you. Okay, this is quite technical also on this Industry Revolution 4.0. Okay, and impact to our planning industry. So how does this IR 4.0 can help the planner for the current scenario in the construction project planning?
Okay, thank you, Mr. John. Actually, IR 4.0, I can say it's not a new thing in construction because it's more related to technology itself. And in construction also, there are some software that have been used can be related to the IR 4.0. For example, nowadays in construction, we are start using of BIM or HIM, building information modeling or highway information modeling. Okay, this one is categorized as inside the IR 4.0. Okay, these tools have proven to help to give a lot of help to not only planner but also to other parties because it's quite different from Primavera or Microsoft project, because in Primavera and Microsoft project, there will be no 3D view. That means whatever we see from Primavera P6 and also Microsoft project is only the names of activity and the sequence of the activity. But with BIM, building or building information system, we can see the 3D view of the project itself. Okay, but it's not an easy task to do the BIM, because BIM, as far as I know, we have 3 different software to be used. I'm forget about the software, but one of it is, I'm not mistaken, is Revit. Okay, one software we use to export all the construction drawings in order to do the 3D drawing, the 3D model. One software is for the programming itself, baseline program, and then another program used to combine the 3D drawings and the program, so that the final that we got is the 3D model that show us the details on how we want to construct our buildings. So for me, it's really useful for us planning, because we can show and explain to people how we will conduct the project, so that is, I can say, easily for us to convince people and show people how this project will go. Okay, besides that, okay, BIM will help us to see whether our sequence of activity is correct or not. Because if, let's say, there's some problems in our sequence, during 3D model generate, we can see there are activity that will overlap or left behind. For example, we are doing the column for first level, but at the same time, when we generate, the slab for the second level is already complete before the column. Okay, so it can be shown in with BIM. So this is some of the example that IR 4.0 is given a benefit to us planner lah. Another thing is with IR 4.0, by hook or by crook, the company have to send planner to increase their skill, so that we can get in additional skills apart from the skills that we are currently have. So this is important, because if not, totally the company will be left behind if the planner is not capable of getting the new information. So this is one of the other benefit besides the BIM. So besides that, for me, IR 4.0 for planning purposes is more benefit compared to the keburukan dia lah. So tapi CIDB already take action on the IR 4.0. They are already planned for the IR 4.0. So I hope that in the future there will be a lot more benefit for us planner. Okay, as we know, currently Malaysia is really pesat membangun, even though COVID has slowed down our construction industry, but now it start to race back. So with IR 4.0, it will more fasten the growing of construction industry lah. And besides them, IR 4.0 also can make the construction time frames become faster lah, because all this while when we are using a conventional method, sometimes we are having longer durations, because we need to wait for the manpower, production of material from the factory and itself. But with IR 4.0, the production, especially at the factory, will be more efficient and increased. So the time waiting for the material to get to site, I can say it will be much more efficient and faster lah compared to currently.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Bob. So I think here, okay, this is at the end of our session already. So what we can see and what we have learned from Mr. Bob, okay, they have some tips that Mr. Bob already given to us. Number one, plan your project on a timeline. So using this timeline, you can proper doing on this what I call the planning sheet and so on, so that you will not left any activities or any task behind. Okay, so you need to organize your priorities, what you need to do and what does not need to do. Then you need to have a effective communication skill, okay, because planner, they will involve with all parties from the top until the last one, the subcontractors, and they will manage the project together. Right, that is the conclusion that we can do for our webinar today, which like what have Mr. Bob mentioned just now. Okay, we need to manage our time, our money, and our quality of the project, and also what the thing that will make that project successful or the planning successful is effective managing the manpower, the machinery, and also the materials. That is the conclusion that we can do for our webinar series today here. Thank you so much, Mr. Bob, for your knowledge, for your experience that you share to us here today in our webinar series on effective planning for this construction industry. So I think we will end our webinar today here. Okay, again, I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Bob, and thank you for watching us. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.